The Buddha's Last Days. Sariputta, there are certain recluses and Brahmins whose doctrine and view is this: as long as this good man is still young, a black-headed young man endowed and blessed with youth, in the prime of life, so long as he is perfect in lucid wisdom. But when his good man is old age, burned with years' advice in life, and comes to the last stage, being 80, 90, or 100 years old, then the lucidity of his wisdom is lost, but should be not regarded so. I am now old, aged, burdened with my years, advanced in life, and come to the last stage. My years have turned 80. Now suppose that I had 4 disciples with the 100 years lifespan, perfect in mindfulness, relative memory, and lucidity of wisdom. Just as a skilled archer, trained, practiced, and tested, could easily shoot a light across the shadow of a palm tree. Suppose they even had that extent perfect in mindfulness, relative memory, of lucidity and wisdom. Suppose that they continuously asked me about the 4 foundations of mindfulness, and that I answered them. When asked and they remembered, each answer of mine never asked and a subsidiary question or pause except to eat, drink, consume, food, taste, urine, defect, and the rest in order to remove sleepiness and tiredness. Still the Tanglaha exploitation of the Dharma, his explorations of the facts of the Dharma, and his replies to the question would not yet come to an end. But meanwhile, those 4 disciples of mine, with their 100 years lifespan, would have died at the end of those 100 years. Sariputta, even if you have to carry me and out of bed, still there will be no change in the lucidity of Tanglaha's wisdom. Rightly speaking, were it to be said of anyone a subject to the delusion of appearing in the world for welfare and happiness of many, out of compassion for the world, for the good welfare, and for the good of the gods humans. It is of me indeed that rightfully speaking that should be said. Then the venerable Ananda approached the Blessed One, having approached and paid homage while messaging the Blessed One's limbs. He said to him, "It is wonderful, venerable sir, it is amazing, venerable sir, the Blessed One's complexion is no longer pure and bright, his limbs are all flaccid and wrinkled, his body is stooped, and the alteration is seen in his faculties, in the eyes faculty, and the ear faculty, the nose faculty, the tongue faculty, and the body faculty." So it is, Ananda, in youth one is subject to aging and death, and health one. While alive, one is subject to death. The complexion is no longer pure and bright, the limbs are all flaccid, wrinkled, and the body is stooped, and some alteration is seen in the faculties, in the eye, the faculty in the ear, the faculty in the nose, the faculty in the tongue, the faculty in the body faculty. This is what the Blessed One said. Having said this Fortune One, the teacher, father, said this: "Fie on you, wretched aging which makes beauty fade. Such has the charming puppet been crushed beneath the vengeance age. One who might live 100 years also has death as a destination. Death despairs none along the way, but comes crushing everything. And now again, Ananda, the Tanglaha has today a chapel shrine, continuously and deliberately rejected the rest of his allotted term of life. And when he has thus spoken, the venerable Sir Ananda addressed the exalted one and said, Vultus Lord, to remain in the aeon live and through the Kalpa, O exalted one, for the good and the happiness for the great multitudes out of pity for the world, for the good and the gain and the will of gods and men." "Enough now, Ananda. Beseech not the Tanglaha," was the reply. "The time for making such a request is past." And again the second time and the third time, the venerable Ananda both sought the Exalted One in the some words, and he received from the Exalted One the same reply. In that when a suggestion so evident and hint so clear were thus given thee by Tangleha, thou us wast incapable of comprehending them. If thou shouldn't then have so been unsought, the Tangleha might have rejected the appeal even to the second time, but the third time it would have been granted. Thine, therefore, O Narada, is the great fault, thine is the offence. But now, Narada, I have not formally declared to you that it is the very nature of all things near and dear unto us, that we must divine ourselves from them, leave our severe ourselves from them. How then? Narada, this can be possible, whereas anything, wherever born, brought into the being and organized, contains within itself the inner necessity of dissolution. Then that can be possible that such a thing should not dissolve. No condition can exist. All component things must grow old. Work out your salvation with diligence. The extinction of the Tangleha will take place before long. At the end of 3 months from this time the Tangleha will die. My age is fully ripe. My life draws to a close. I leave you, I depart, relying on myself alone. Be earnest then, O brethren, O holy, full of thought, but steadfast in resolve. Keep watch over your own hearts, who worries not, but holds fast to this truth and law. Shall cross the sea of fire, shall make an end of grief. Dwell with the Dharma as your refuge. But I have not already declared, Ananda, that we must partake, separated and severed, from all who are dear and agreeable to us. How, Ananda, is it to attain there? May what is born come to be, conditioned and subjected to the diligent and not diligence, that is impossible. Therefore, Narada, dwell with yourselves as your own island, with yourselves as your own refuge, with no other refuge. Dwell with the Dharma as your own island, with the Dharma as your refuge, with no other refuge. And now, Ananda, does a bhikkhu dwell with himself as his own island, with himself as his own refuge, with no other refuge, with the Dharma and his island, as with the Dharma as his refuge, with no other refuge. Here, Narada, a bhikkhu dwells, contemplating the body in the body in the body. He dwells contemplating feelings in feelings. He dwells contemplating mind in mind. He dwells contemplating phenomena in phenomena, ardent, clearly comprehending mindfulness, having removed consciousness and displeasure in regard. Those bhikkhus, Narada, even now after I go, who dwell with themselves as their own island, with themselves as their own refuge, with no other refuge, who dwell with the Dharma as their island, with the Dharma as their refuge, with no other refuge. It is in these bhikkhus, Ananda, who will be looking me most top of these keen on the training.